Hi everybody out there in YouTube land. It is the 1/5 scale FW-190 I'm working on. I'm going to do a walk around of the assembled airplane for everybody. For those of y'all who don't look at the RC Universe, Scale Builder, all those good places on the internet, and are mostly just the YouTube guys, this will kind of bring y'all up to where I started. Basically, a bunch of styrofoam and a couple of pieces of fiberglass is what I started off with, and the assembled model, almost ready for paint, is what you're looking at right now. I kind of start at the tail and just work the way forward. Again, all the flying surfaces, the vertical stab, the horizontal stab, and the wing were all foam core, sheeted with balsa wood, stick or rectangular or balsa or blocks for the leading and trailing edges. Then fiberglassed over, primed, sanded, and rinse and repeat. The shrouds here are just 1/64 plywood that are actually inlaid into the trailing edge. I don't lay it on top to glue it and then fill in. This is actually inlaid into the trailing edge. It's much nicer looking. It doesn't give you an odd little bump right here for some odd reason. It makes it nice and smooth, just like the full scale. Litho plate details, everything's stamped in just like on the F-14. Around, you can see where I've drawn on the panel lines for where I'll put some 1/64 inch wide chart pack tape. And then we have the elevator linkage here, all internal, carbon push rod running up the length of the fuselage. Retractable tail wheel I don't have installed because it takes forever to get in. On the vertical stab, again, we have shrouds, so the hinge lines are completely concealed. Just like on the full scale, this is G10 material instead of plywood. I chose G10 because I had to come down over the fiberglass fuselage, so I actually had to lay it on top of it, and then I had to fill in to fix the gap or the lip. Now I'm working out the fuselage. Fiberglass, everywhere you see a dark line's high sawed in where the fuselage bulkhead is. The aft portion here of the canopy is fiberglass. The headrest is G10. The little headrest support here with the slot in it for antenna cable is G10 covered in litho plate. The base frame is plywood. You'll see here on the canopy headrest, little dog link basically. As the canopy slides back, it compresses together, so this raises the headrest up. As it slides forward, they uncompress, so it drops back down. Again, that's scale just like the real thing. Here's the entry step. I didn't get it to work how I wanted it to. It's just going to have to be manually operated, which is scale anyway. But originally had plans on hooking up in conjunction with the canopy, so when the canopy rolled back, this slid down, and vice versa. Just didn't work out. Tried a couple of different ways, one with a push rod, one with a separate servo, and just couldn't get the geometry right, and I was taking up a lot of space back there that I needed for push rods and all that good stuff. So mechanical, I just got a little rare earth magnet up here and a steel bolt silver soldered into the end of these tubes, so when you push it up, it actually stays up. Again, more litho details with stuff stamped into them, more panel lines drawn on, raised panel here. For the cockpit, it's just a piece of 3/32 balsa that's been fiberglass on both sides. Litho plate details. I've got the cockpit I haven't put in yet. I got to finish painting it. The cutout for the gun sight, G10 canopy or windshield frame, litho plate covered with all the details. The gun hood is hinged so it opens and closes. I'll probably just have two hatch latches, one on each corner up here to hold it in place. This is a underhood gun kit that Dave Platt used to sell, that someone has bought the molds for and disappeared. We don't know who makes it, but I'll be working with another guy to design our own. This one actually doesn't fit all that well. The little stop sign pieces here at the front, which is actually the original gun mounts, are too tall, so it actually hits inside here on the gun hood, so it doesn't close all the way. The cowl flaps, cooling flaps, whatever you want to call them. You can hear the servo in there moving. Servo's right there. I just gooped it to the side of the fuselage. they're hooked up. I've got them mixed in with the throttle, so when the throttle's at idle, they're closed. When it reaches about half throttle, they're fully open, and anytime the flaps are down, they're fully open. Coming back down on the wing, just ABS fiberglass reinforced gun bulge. I've got to cut a little groove here and put in some styrene tube with a piece of music wire through it that I'm going to serrate down the edge to make it look like a panel or a piano hinge. Originally I planned on making these operational and folding up and everything, but it just didn't work out. More litho plate, still raised panels, more panel lines I got to put tape on. All of this was done by hand, drawn out. Coming up here to the front for you guys, you see the canopy or the cowling actually folds open on the sides. Again, this is scale. The closing mechanism up here is just a piece of piano hinge that I pulled the pin out of, and I took a piece of 39 thousandths music wire, slid down the back. It folds down into this little groove right here, and then once the gun hood is closed and latched, the cowling, the pin, it keeps the pin from sliding back, so it stays in place. The only way I could get this engine to fit was to make the cow do this. You could get the cowling on without these, but this makes your life so much easier when it comes to putting in the hold down bolts. Two up here at the top, one there at the bottom, one on the other side. Cooling exit duct that you saw on the inboard. There's cowling, or the carburetor, and the cylinders. I bought a 5th scale spinner that Syst makes from a gentleman that has the cooling fan, so that'll be going in here just like the real thing. You can see that the engine's a really tight fit in here. I'll give you a little close up in there. You can see there's really no room for anything else. There's just enough room for those rocker arms to go up and around and actuate the valves, and that's about it. Going around to the other side does the exact same thing. Again, it's hinged, it's held in place by the same way with a little pin. Cowling flaps. The landing gear is from Sierra Retracts, so are the wheels and tires. They're supposed to be scale. They look pretty good to me according to all the documents and everything I have. The only thing I'm kind of not very happy with is for the price of the Retracts, I would have expected these to go the right direction. They actually fold inboard, and they're actually supposed to go on outboard. Well, inboard towards the airplane, but they actually go in towards the strut pivot. For the cost of them, you'd expect it to be right, considering they call them a scale retract. But nobody will ever know unless you're just nitpicky about things, and that I pretty much am all the time. The gear doors are carbon fiber, fiberglass laminate, then covered with a litho plate. Little aluminum door collars that Sierra sells. I made little aluminum standoffs instead of using a piece of hardwood like some guys do. You can see there's little brass pieces here. Now push down on the wing and you'll see that the doors actually slide over each other. It's easier to do with two hands. Down the bottom, gun bulges, openings that I've shown in previous videos. Servo openings. These are filled with G10. They're completely flush and pretty much hidden them. So that's about it. I'll pull the cockpit box out down here, give you all a look at that. Again, that's what it should look like when it's done. I've gotten started on it a little bit. I gotta do mostly the painting. Here you can see the seat with all kinds of butcher wounds on it. The seat they sent me was actually about 1/2 an inch too wide, 2 inches too tall, and about 3/4 of an inch too deep from the front of the seat pan here to the back. And after a couple emails back and forth with Inspan and them talking to the owner and arguing with me saying the seat's not correct after I sent them numerous dimensions on it, saying that they said it was correct, but according to all my documentation they said it's not, or they said it was correct but all my documentation said it wasn't. So you can see with a newly adjusted seat, it sits just to the top of the fuselage. Double, triple, and quadruple checked the cockpit floor to make sure it was the correct depth for the canopy rails using Bentley drawings, which are pretty much the drawings to use for Focke-Wulfs. The guys, I think he spent something like 10 or 20 years making all the drawings for the A models, and then again for all the Doras and the TA-152s and all. Drawings are spectacular. It's 6 pages or so for like 20 bucks. Highly worth the money. But after checking all that, the seat is, the floor was in the correct position, and this seat matches the dimensions on his drawings. And I actually called up a couple other people that are working on Focke-Wulf restorations, and according to them, my new seat is exactly what it's supposed to be, and the old seat was more like a quarter scale seat, or maybe even slightly larger than quarter, maybe quarter and a third and a half or so. So, not very happy with the amount of money I spent and then not getting very good customer service, but hey, what can you say? Maybe they'll see this video and give me some sort of some sort of credit for proving that they're wrong, even though they don't think that they are. Alright, well, that's enough talking about Inspan. Pilot, buddy of mine picked up for me. Dragon models. He's got the parachute that he's currently wearing is extra, but came with a leather flight suit, all of his gun, tie, officer's suit. That's what it looks like in his leather flight suit. So I mean, I think he got this off eBay for a pretty good price. Gives you a whole little history of the guy. So, but that's where we are. It's gonna be the last update for a couple of days. I gotta go to California for a mosquito conference for work. So you guys have a good week, and see you later.